Good evening, my friends, my loves. This is week 5 of the Mom Dreams Book Club. And for those of you who don't know me, I am Brianna Standifer. I am the founder of Mom Dreams. And we voted several weeks ago for the book that we would be reading and discussing. And to remind you, the book we are reading is F Happiness: How Women Are Ditching the Cult of Positivity and Choosing Radical Joy by Ariel Gore. And yes, that young lady does have two middle fingers because it says F Happiness. So the section that we went over this time was called Grumpy Nuns Die Young: Women and the Science of Joy. So, just as a recap, Ariel Gore is dissecting the culture of happiness, how it impacts women, and if it's really a psychological thing. Is it something where we are born with a certain level of happiness and we don't have the ability to get any more? She's breaking it down and she's using life experiences as well as studies because she is a psychologist to kind of talk about that. One of our challenges for the last couple of weeks is to have a joy journal. So to write down the things that bring us joy, even if it's small, even if it's large. So I'll talk about some of my joy moments this last week, and then we'll dive into what we read in the book. So joy moments. Tuesday, last Tuesday, which was a week from today, we finished week 4 of our book club. And when I stopped the recording and I was done, I felt joy because I've been consistent, because I am not breezing through this book the way I usually do. I said in one of the previous weeks that I am choosing to only read the sections that are designated for that week so that I don't get ahead with discussion, so that I'm not aware of what she's going to say next, which will impact kind of what I talk about or what my reflection may be. Last week, in preparation for Mother's Day, my husband took me out for happy hour on Wednesday, and he made a kind of spicy post about salsa and margaritas, which I will leave it. If you know my husband, he is very honest and he is a free spirit, and I allow him to be himself. So if you follow him on Facebook, you saw the post. He doesn't go into detail, but you can kind of see what he's alluding to. So he took me to happy hour on Wednesday, and we had a good time just spending quality time. It's a new Hispanic restaurant literally around the corner from our house, and we've gone a good number of times doing happy hour. They have really good margaritas. Their food is good, and so that was great. A Friday, because they made it a weekend thing. They plugged in my little foot. I have a foot soak with a massager, and it bubbles. And so they, got me my favorite food and kind of just helped me relax. It was a very, 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 very long work week last week. Just super busy, new hires, onboarding. Usually this part of the year is not extremely busy, but for whatever reason, it's been crazy. So they saw how stressed out I've kind of been. And so they made sure that they helped me relax on Friday so that I could enjoy the weekend, because sometimes it takes me a little time to come down when I'm dealing with stress. I walked my 3 days last week. So actually I did two a days last week. If I had to toot my own horn, our goal is to walk at least 2 miles 4 days a week. My husband and I, he always does more than me, but that's my goal right now. And on Monday and Friday of last week, I went to hot yoga, which I absolutely love. I love hot yoga. The sweating, the stretching, it's just a good relaxing release for me, good mindfulness. So I did it on Monday and Friday, and I walked my 2 miles. And I will tell you, I have not done two-a-days since track high school. So no, it wasn't, 5,000 pyramids and lifting weights and all that, but it brought me joy just to see my growth. Because one of the things that I'm focusing on is my physical health. And, I want to live a long time, but I also want to have a quality of life as I live long. So we've been focusing on physical health, and my husband kind of has been the spearhead for that. And I will tell you, it is very hard for me to release control of things. But I will say it has made it easier for me because I don't have to uh, set what we're doing and set the time, like having him handle that. And he's enjoying it because I'm submitting. But he's enjoying it and I am too. Just to it's kind of like set it, forget it. I know it's expected. When we have time, we do it together. But by the end of the day, on those days, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, the expectation is that you've done at least 2 weeks. I mean, 2 miles, excuse me. And then on Saturday, I went to an event, and the name of the organization is Hurt, Heal, Evolve. And they did a live broadcast podcast. So they do an audio podcast, but they also did a video podcast. So I was in the room with other women, and they were just talking about homework life balance, balancing your career with your family and your own physical health. And it was so encouraging, and to see women that have accomplished so much, have organizations that have been around way longer than mine, and they're reaching, a good amount of people with what their niche is. One was a doctor, so she focuses on holistic health. And one, she's an author, she's in ministry, she has a family. So it was good to be in the room with other women, not only to get encouragement and to kind of get confirmation about some of the things, how I'm approaching it, and to also get some things that I can go home and work on. It was also wonderful being in the room with women that are doing their thing, whatever that thing is. They're doctors. One's a podcaster. One serves women mainly with her organization. One serves in ministry. So being in the room, meeting new people, met some of the women that were in the podcast audience. I was a stranger. Some of the people in there knew each other. I didn't know anyone there. Shout out to Kelly B. Books, who told me about the event and encouraged me to go. I'm so glad I went. And thankfully, we didn't have any plans that Saturday. We kept that day open. And then afterwards, I got back home and I felt like I was cute. Like I felt really, really good about myself. It's not. I work from home, and yeah, we go to church on Sundays, but we don't always dress up. It's pretty casual, so it was nice to kind of get dressed, do my makeup. My hair was done. I felt cute. So I told my husband, I want to go somewhere. Like I don't want to waste this good outfit. Yes, I went somewhere great, but I want to go somewhere. So we went to Bishop Arts, and that's one of the places like we go. They have a lot of different restaurants, and they have bars, and they have several restaurants that always have live music on the weekends. And I love live music. I don't care if it's piano, guitar, horns, like whatever it is, a drum, it doesn't matter. I love live music. So we went down there, and we spent some quality time, listened to some good music. And they had several bands that kind of had time slots. So we got the joy of being kind of in between. So we got to hear two bands. Kind of walked around, and it was just really great. And then Sunday, we went to church, spent time with one another, and it was just a very relaxing day, which is what I needed to kind of prepare me for this another crazy week. So that is my joy overview. Let me see. Can I think of anything from yesterday? Yesterday was rough. I'm gonna be honest. Yesterday was rough, and I consider like, should I postpone? Am I gonna be like present for this? But I'm here. I'm present. I have energy, and maybe all that joy during the week and the weekend is what's carrying me. It's only Tuesday. So I imagine some of you can understand. I hope you all had an amazing Mother's Day. For those who are mothers, I always say Mother's Day is not a joyful holiday for everyone. Sometimes it's hard. So I hope you found peace. I hope you found comfort if it's a hard day, if you've lost children, if you've lost your mother, if you don't have a good relationship with your children, or you don't have a good relationship with your mother. I understand some of those struggles. So I will say for me, leading up to holidays like this, it was not always like this, but in the last couple of years, I think just with some of the things I have experienced, it's hard for me. Thankfully, this time the hard blew in like 2 weeks and a week before. So I was able to cycle through where I was because my goal was I want to be fully present with my family. Like they desire to celebrate me. They celebrate me when it's not a holiday, but they were really excited about Mother's Day and about celebrating me. And the last thing I wanted was for me to be sad or upset and not enjoy them celebrating me. So I was successful at doing that. And I was so grateful because leading up to Mother's Day, it was a little rough for me because some of those things that I highlight for other women have been my own experiences. So I hope you enjoyed the weekend, and we're about to dive into fucking, oh, excuse me, as happiness. I said it. I've been trying not to say it. The heart always helps me. Maybe it's better because I'm reading it. But, and I'm not going to edit that out because I said it, and that is technically what the book is inferring. So, in this section of the book, she is talking about how we may be in control of our level of happiness more than we realize. There have been some psychological studies that talk about how most people have a baseline of happiness because everyone has a different temperament, because everyone has a different personality. We all have a different baseline. And that's just before we experience family and how we're raised and all that. We are born with personalities. Even with our children, when they're young, we can see if they are a little shy or if they are very outgoing and will talk to anyone, or if they are more comfortable around people they know versus strangers. You notice that when they're young, and we shape how they interact not only with family but with the world. So do we encourage that baseline temperament, whatever it is, or do we discourage it because we're uncomfortable with it, or because we feel it's unsafe, or because we feel like it's not good? And I will tell you, from being a mother, it took me some time. I will say this, that it took me some time to adjust and learn how to mother the different personalities for the children that I have. For me, when I was young, I was not extremely outgoing. I will tell you, I hid behind my mom's legs when adults talk to me. It made me very uncomfortable when adults talk to me. I don't know why. It was just a thing. And it wasn't because my parents told me don't talk to adults. These were people that they had relationships with. I was not a talker. So when I was younger, I was very observant. Probably to a fault, but I was very observant. So I watched people's behaviors, what they said, what they did. Did it make sense? Yes, I've always been a thinker, even when I was young. It wasn't until I entered school with other children that I began to be more verbal, because being exposed to other people, how do I say this nicely? Being exposed to other people at that age made me wonder why people were the way that they were and why they thought the way they thought. And that's the best way I can say it as an adult. But think about that from a child's view. So, for example, there was this boy in my class. His name was Larry. He wore cowboy boots, and sweet boy. He was the only child. His mom was older, like he possibly was, a surprise, because I was in kindergarten, and she may have been in her 40s or 50s. I just know she was an older mother, and and he was very clingy. Like, he did not want her to leave when she was getting ready to leave for school. And every single day, they will walk in, he will be fine. He would go to his station, wherever that was that day that he started, was the kitchen station, the house station, coloring, or the reading corner, wherever it was that he would go first before class started. His mom would stay the same amount of time every single day. And when she got ready to leave, it was a whole scene. He would scream and cry. And when she would walk out, because the way the kindergarten section was made, the door to walk out was directly outside. It wasn't like into a hallway. He would run after her every single day. So I went home. Again, I was not a talker, But suddenly I had a lot to say because that's just one example. And I would ask my mom, like, Mom, why does he do that? And so, of course, she would say, hey, maybe, he's just not used to being around people he doesn't know. I said, but Mom, we're like halfway through the school year and he does it every single day. And she was like, well, maybe he's very close to his mother. There are kids that have issue with separation. And I was like, it's not separation. They're going to come pick him up at the same time every day. But it was like things like that that got my mind working, and it made me want to understand people. So when you talk to me, when you actually have a conversation, a lot of people say, man, you look at things from so many different perspectives, and it's easy to talk to you. It's because I'm a thinker, and at a very young age, I wondered why people did the things that they did. And if it didn't make sense to me, I asked questions. And when I got answers, it didn't always make it better, but it gave me a little insight and it helped me give him a little grace. Oh, maybe he's going to miss his mom, in a 5-year old's mind. So I say all that to say that we all are born with a base level, how they describe it, level of temperament, and we have a certain type of personality. And then that is shaped from our parents or our whoever raised us, and in the environment that we are in, which contributes to how we are. So are we encouraging our kids to be themselves, how their personalities, their temperament, but shaping it if it is maybe a little extreme where they have trouble sitting still, or maybe it's a little extreme where they're too shy and you want to teach them how to interact with people? Are we encouraging them to be themselves, but shaping it in a healthy way? And so she talks about how we may have more control over our happiness than we know. We think maybe that we're stuck where we are, or we have no control over it, or this is just the way that I am. And she talks about studies that support both sides. And then she comes in the middle and says, we have a lot more control than we think we do. So one of my questions is, do you believe happiness happens by chance? Does happiness happen by chance? Because she talks about the root of happiness means luck or chance. But do we really believe that? My answer is no. I do not believe happiness happens by chance. If you are happy as a kid, you may have a baseline where you're energetic and you're positive. That may be your natural response to life, struggles, whatever the case may be. But do your parents cultivate that? Or do they tell you stop being so positive? It gets on my nerves. Were you in an environment like that? And so they kind of dimmed your light. And so now you think there's something wrong with being positive and happy. As an adult, do you think it happens by chance? I would say no. We are in control of that meter. Are we in control of the things that happen to us? Not always, but we are in control of how we respond to those things. And I think a lot of our responses contributes to our level of happiness. Again, I'm not saying that negative emotions are bad. No, they're normal, what we call negative emotions. I don't think there are any negative emotions. I believe emotions are just expressions of how we feel and where we are. But it doesn't happen by chance. One of the things she talks about in some of her questions is, why do people think external things will cheer us up permanently? And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, where we're talking about what really influences how happy we are. And naturally, typically, we go to external things. If I lost weight, if I had more money, if I had a better job, if I had a husband, if I didn't have a husband anymore, if I had children, if my children would go ahead and move, those things would make us happy. And it was so interesting because she talks about a study that's done by some psychologists, where basically what you learn is when those things happen, the good things, the things that we think will make us happy. What she says is we get happy about it, we cheer up. Oh, I'm so excited. I've been waiting on this. It happens. And then we get used to it. It becomes the norm. Then we return to our previous set level of happiness. So that's why when you get that job, or you get that car, or you get that house, or you get that husband. Yes, you're on the, we call it the high of the change and the new, and but does that make you permanently happy? No, typically it doesn't. I will say there have been some things in my life, play devil's advocate with my own thought, where things have happened that I desired, that I needed, and I have a baseline of gratefulness. So, for example, when we got our home, that was a big thing for us. We needed space and we wanted our own home for multiple reasons. Because of some years of instability, because of some childhood experiences, having our own was really important to both me and my husband. When we received it, we were so excited, we were so happy, we were so grateful. We've been here 7 years, and I still walk in the front door with gratefulness. Like, I am so happy. I am so grateful. Thank you, God, that you blessed us with this space, something that's just ours, and you've helped us maintain it and keep it. So, my happiness meter for this blessing is pretty high. My base is really, really high. So anytime I talk about my home, there are things I want to upgrade, I want to change, I want to do, but there is a high baseline of gratefulness. But there are some things, like previously when I talked about how I thought a new job opportunity would make me happy, and I was still miserable with a new opportunity. It's because permanent happiness, or let's not even say permanent, steady, consistent happiness does not come from external things, because those things change, because we adjust to having what we did not have before, what struggles we may have experienced before we received the job or the car or the home. We no longer experience those. And so eventually over time, and some people get used to things more quickly than others, but eventually over time, we get used to it. So it does not bring the same cheer and excitement that it brought when you first got it. There are some exceptions to that rule, but in general, that is not what happens. Then she asked people, what is your fondest memory? And I think she asked this in her studies, in her times of interviewing people. What is your fondest memory? Because she wanted to see what truly brought them joy. Now, we give a list of things that we think will make us happy, but when she asked people what their fondest memories were, they had nothing to do with jobs or material things. It was about spending, special memories with their family, with their father who may have passed, or their children, or like it was one story with a woman and her daughter. They went to the beach and they spent the whole day at the beach, and she didn't forget anything. And mothers, I know you know, when you are going somewhere like a camping trip or the beach or something outside where you're going to be gone all day, that checklist is real, because you do not want to forget anything. Because who is going to drive from the beach to get XYZ unless it's something you absolutely need? But she went to the beach with her child, did not forget anything: the food, the tent for shade, the things to play with, bug and sunscreen spray to make sure they were protected. They had an amazing time. And while they were sitting there, as the day was dying down, it started to get windy. And she said to her child, you know what will make this experience even better? This is amazing. We're having a great time. If we had a kite, and a kite came in on the shore from the ocean, and they flew that kite. That was her fondest memory. So that contrast of, oh, all these external things will make me happy, they typically don't. Because when someone asks you what your fondest memory is, you very rarely talk about the promotion, or, I, got a lot of money, or I won $100 on a scratch off. Like, those are not the things. Oh, when I got my brand new car, those are not typically fond memories. And so I think it was important for us to talk about how what we say will make us happy when someone asks us that, versus our fondest memories that bring us joy. They're typically two different things. And maybe when someone asks us what will make us happy, maybe our response needs to align more with the things that are fond memories. So I'll tell you mine, and I would love to hear yours in the comments, what your fondest memories are. So I'll give maybe two. So one of my fondest memories. So we were blessed enough as kids to travel. We didn't have the latest clothes, shoes, and we got two pair of shoes all school year. They were on sale, on clearance, or from the outlet. We did not have the latest and greatest. Our home, 3-bedroom home, it wasn't huge and big. My parents drove practical cars, nothing extremely fancy, but we were blessed to go on summer vacations almost every single summer. Started off when I was about 8 or 9. And in middle school, my mom saved, actually, I think the year before that, we did a very small family trip because my mom was saving for a big trip. It was her desire to take us out of the country. And so I think that year before, I think we went to San Antonio, which we had been multiple times. And those were some of the first places we went for vacations, and they kind of built from there. But that year before, we went to like San Antonio, but she was saving for a trip out of the country. And for this trip, we went to Germany. And I was in the 7th or 8th grade. I was in middle school. And we had some family there that was in the military. So we stayed with them while we were there. We stayed a week there. And then we took a tour and we went to Paris. The Eiffel Tower was amazing in person, but that was not my fondest memory. My fondest memory was when we went to Euro Disney. We went to Disney World in Paris, and they had a parade. And so, Disney parades are huge. And in the 90s, that was major. 90s, early 2000s, Disney World was a thing. It still is, but I didn't have, my kids don't say, "Oh, mom, I want to go to Disney World." They've been with their grandparents, but I'm just making a point. It was a big deal. So we went to the parade, and it was so many people there. And we got so blessed. My mom kind of maneuvered us. We're small people, we're short. So we kind of maneuvered, and we happened to be in the front for the parade. So I could see everything because that was big. Like, I want to see everything. I don't want to miss anything. If I'm in the back, I can't see everything. So my mom got us a space. And during the parade, one of the young ladies in the parade, and she was like a little clown, like a cute clown, she grabbed me and put me in the parade with her. Why was that a fond memory? Not because I was in the parade necessarily, but in that season of life, remember I told you we grew up in a home where emotions weren't a big thing. You didn't talk about things. We didn't talk about, unless you got in trouble, we didn't really talk about things. And so middle school was hard. I hated middle school. I got in a lot of trouble in middle school, not in school. I just did not make the best decisions. Like, I had good grades, mostly did what I was supposed to do. But like I told you before, when I swung for the fence. And usually I hit a home run. And so middle school was very, very hard for me. And it was a fond memory because out of the whole crowd, she saw me. That's why it was a fond memory for me. Because out of all the people and all the kids in that group of people, and it was people on both sides of that little path where the parade was, she saw me, she smiled, and she grabbed me. So for me, I was seen in that moment. So that is a fond memory for me. Another fond memory that I have is my father-in-law, he's no longer with us. He got me a gift for one Christmas. And you expect the regular stuff. You expect, the gift card, or, a shirt, or, I didn't expect, I had a very, very close relationship with him, but I didn't expect anything sentimental. And he got me a Dake's Bible, which is a study Bible. And then, like, Dake's were huge, and I really liked studying. It didn't matter what it was, history, science, math. I was just heavy into studying. I was an adult then. I just love to learn. And he got me, and I wasn't planning on sharing this, but clearly, because I'm wearing the necklace right now. But he got me a silver necklace, and it had a little fish on it, and it had diamonds in it. And he wrote inside of the Dake's Bible, it said, "Don't forget about us little people when you get to the top." And it wasn't because he was gassing me up. It was because he could see something in me that I could not see in myself. So every time I do something mom dreams, I think about the fact that he could see that I was going to do something that was impactful. Now, so big. Don't forget about the little people. I don't know about all that. But the fact that he could see that I carried a gift, he could see that whatever I did, it was going to be impactful. That is a fond memory for me. Again, I was seen. So clearly, a lot of my fond memories are moments where I typically, because even though I need to be seen, I like to be in the background. Like, to see things successful and know that I was in the background doing my thing brings me joy. But those are moments where I was seen, those are my fondest memories. So I want to challenge you. This is a challenge, but I want to challenge you to change your perspective when you think about being happy. Change it from the things you think you can get that will make you happy to the experiences that were your fondest memories that brought you joy. Because what you will learn is it's those things that happen consistently or that you create that actually bring you joy and that bring you long lasting happiness. Cars will break down, you'll sell homes, you'll redecorate your home, you'll get new jobs, you'll make more money. But those memories are etched, and how they impacted me are etched in my mind, in my heart. Like I can even feel how I felt when I talk about it when she saw me and picked me. I can feel how I felt when he gave me that gift and I was surprised and it was so thoughtful. And it was the first time I had gotten like some type of expensive type jewelry besides my wedding ring. I'm talking about just as a gift. No one gifted me jewelry. My wedding ring was, something we got because we were getting married, but no one had ever gifted me jewelry, something impactful and something that clearly words last for me as well, but that impacted me in that way. So it makes me happy, brings me joy to be seen, but it also brings me joy when I have the opportunity to make others feel seen. So I will tell you that take care package, the mom package I do once a month, when I give to one woman or mother in mom dreams, for me, that's an opportunity to give, to show someone you're loved, you're seen, you matter. Because feeling like that does matter. It impacts us in a very big way. So, again, I want to challenge you to look at your happiness through the view of fond memories, what brought lasting joy. I don't remember what I felt like when I got my last promotion. I know I got more money. I thought that it was going to make me happy and it was going to last. And as soon as I had those extra responsibilities and more stress, I was like, did I ask for more? Enough? No, did I ask for enough money for what I'm having to do? So you see the difference? I don't have any rebuttals for those fond memories. That was just pure joy. So I am in search of moments or aware of moments that happen or looking to create moments like that for myself, for my family, and for those who I'm connected to. That is why we were saying F happiness and embracing radical joy. Because happiness does not come from the places that we are told they come from. They come from within, a need that's being met. That's not always tangible. That's not always bought. That's not always, I can't go to a store and buy being seen. I can't go to a store and purchase feeling like I matter. I cannot go to a store and purchase a heart that loves to give and is willing to receive. And since I brought that up, I know as women, we many times struggle receiving because we are natural nurturers and natural givers. We struggle to receive. We struggle to receive. Let me encourage you to open your hand and receive. You will be more happy. How, you say? Because we need the capacity to reciprocate and receive who we are. So if you are a natural giver, you love to give gifts, you love to volunteer, you love to give your time, you love to spend time with people, you love to encourage, you buy the coffee for the person behind you in line, all of those things. What better way to continue a capacity of giving and not feel burnt out or used up than to allow yourself to receive? I struggle with that for so long. We struggle with receiving because of our pride, because of our egos, because sometimes we don't want to admit that we have a need. But the reality is, every single person needs something, and every single person's need is not always met. And that's why when someone is willing to fulfill that need, we should allow them. I already hear the questions. What about the people that want to give but don't have pure motives? Let's deal with that on a case by case basis, because sometimes you think or you say that they don't have pure motives, but that is your excuse not to receive. I'll say that again for the people in the back. Sometimes you use that people have impure motives as an excuse because you do not feel comfortable receiving from people. So I say do it on a case by case basis. No one likes gifts with strings attached. But also, are you going to turn down a need being met because the strings are attached? Or are you going to set boundaries so that you can continue to receive, but not be used, feel used, which means having the ability to say no? So I will tell you, I have people, or I've had people in my life where they were givers, but their expectation was, because I give you this or because I extend myself, I expect that from you. In itself, that's not a bad thing, but also they did not respect boundaries. So, how did I receive from those people? Sometimes it was communicating, hey, I really appreciate you doing this for me. I believe it's from a pure place. Or maybe not in the moment of receiving the gift, saying later on, hey, I've noticed you are giving, but you also have unrealistic expectations. And sometimes it feels like because you give, you want people to give to your level or to your capacity. You know me, I am a giver too, but I also have to set boundaries. And when you ask me for things, you make me feel guilty when I tell you no. If my no's offends you and my boundaries offend you, you don't have to give me anything. But please know that I am grateful and thankful for everything that you do for me and you give me. Sometimes a conversation is necessary, and sometimes maybe it's not wise to receive from certain people. But don't let that be your excuse for not receiving, because everybody that's giving you something does not have bad motives. Say it again. Everybody that's trying to give, support does not have bad motives. And if you don't know if they have pure motives, the only way sometimes you'll find out is if you accept the gift. And the gift could be time, the gift could be lunch, dinner, the gift can be a literal gift, a gift card, whatever that case may be. And I will tell you, even in this space of me giving, I can tell that it makes people uncomfortable. And sometimes they wonder, like, is she going to expect something from me? Do I have to comment more because she gave me something? Do I have to be more present, on the post or in the group because I got a gift? No, these gifts come with no attachments. I just want you to know that you are seen, you are loved, because guess what? Somebody does that for me as well. And there is nothing more beautiful than being able to receive a gift, whatever that gift may be, with no strings attached, no negative motives, but it makes you feel encouraged, happy, makes you feel safe enough to receive and also to give. That was for free. So the last thing we're talking about related to the book was shifting our view to what makes us happy. It's typically not external. It's typically not material things. If we think about our fondest memories, those are the things that bring us lasting joy. So I want to share some quotes with you from the book. So starting at the beginning of this section, the quote was by Sharon Salzberg. And it's, if we go into a darkened room and turn on the light, it doesn't matter if the room has been dark for a day, a week, or 10,000 years. When we turn on the light and it is illuminated, once we control our capacity for love and happiness, the light has been turned on. So I will tell you that ultimately is my goal. It illuminates things in me, but also in you. That when you hear me speak about fond memories, and that's what brings you happiness versus external things, or you hear me share stories, or you hear me talk about my personal experience, I hope that in moments a little light comes on, or if it's not completely on, that something flickers that gives you permission to look at your situation a little bit differently. Maybe gives you permission to say, you know what? I have a right to be happy. I have a right to have lasting joy. And identify, search, dig, spend time with yourself and figure out what those things are that bring you lasting joy. Because it's from that place that you can flow better, you can give better, you can enjoy things better, you can see the good in life. You're going to see the bad and you're going to notice it. We naturally are going to see it, but you can see the good too. Because if you look around, everything around you is not bad. You may not feel good, you may not feel great, but if you just look, turn the light on a little bit, click the light on, you'll be able to see that everything around you is not negative, is not bad. And even though there are things that you should be unhappy about and you are unhappy about, I can name at least 5 right now of things that do not make me happy, that I am unhappy about. But I can also identify, as I talked about my week, what things bring me joy. So that when I come on here and we talk and we discuss, I am coming from a pure place of, I'm not telling you this because I'm not doing the work too. I'm not telling you this like I don't have negative thoughts and like I don't have moments where I'm down or I don't have moments where I'm like, oh, what is the point? I have those moments too. But walking in an awareness and a consciousness of that, and in those moments, deciding, because I do have more control than I realize, that no, I'm going to be joyful. So, in conjunction with that, they talk about how 50% of our natural mood and our natural positivity and our nature comes from nature, 50% of it, our temperament, our personality. 10% comes from life and circumstances. 40% we have control over. 40%, based on their studies, we have control over. How and why? How? Because we have the ability to change what's around us, our environments, acknowledging what triggers us and working through those things and maybe distancing ourselves from some of those triggers until we've done the work so that it does not become as much of a pressure point. It comes with an awareness of ourselves and others. Again, people. I like to know how and why people do think the way that they do. But that awareness of others allows me to set healthy boundaries for myself and still interact with some of those people and also meter my level of joy. Now, if I know that somebody that I have to deal with is a joy sucker, they suck the joy out of the room, out of life. Typically, if I can help it, I'm not going to be around them when my cup is empty. Because guess what? Then I'm going to be working at a deficit because they're going to be who they are. And then sometimes I will be around those type of people because I have the power to change the environment and the atmosphere. I can't change people. Do not take up the job of trying to change people. It is not your job. You are not responsible. I've said this for other people's happiness. We are all responsible for our own personal happiness. Now, what we do, what we say, how we move impacts others. But ultimately, we are, and what it impacts us, what others people's do impacts us. People do impacts us. But ultimately, we are in control of that. And I think when that took root in me, it gave me permission to have joy when other people don't. Like, I am not typically the person like that comes in and like, oh my God, and I'm super energetic and super positive. But ask yourself why, when you get around people like that, it gets on your nerves. Because some people, it gets on your nerves. You don't like to be around people that are super energetic and super happy. And they're genuinely energetic and genuinely happy. Why? Why don't you like to be around people like that? And I'll be honest, sometimes people like that get on my nerves, not all the time. Usually, if it's getting on my nerves, it's because I'm in a place and I'm not allowing their light, their ability to illuminate the positive to impact me in a positive way. I am pushing away from it. I'm putting the lampshade over my head and trying to stay in the dark. But those people, when they're genuinely positive, genuine joy, are gifts for us to not deplete, not suck the life out of them, but to glean and be in their presence and allow that to impact us, impact our mood, impact our mindset, impact our approach, and impact our perspective. All of those things. So we are more in control than we realize. There was one other quote that I wanted to share. So she also talks about how we have the ability to undo the impact of negative experiences. She tells a story about when she was a single mother, her daughter was a baby, and an old friend that she hadn't seen in years knocked on the door and was like, "Hey, I just came in town. Do you mind if I, crash for a little bit?" And it was an old friend. They were close. She just hadn't seen her in some time. And she told her, "Of course, come in." And she noticed she didn't have any luggage. And she was like, noted. But, she was my friend. I let her come. But her behavior was very, I'll say, eccentric. She would, get drunk on wine. She caught some spaghetti on fire. She had very strange behaviors. And the woman, the author, knew that it was not really a safe environment. She perceived like, this is odd, this is strange. I have a baby at home. This may not be the best environment for me to have her in, because it's not just me. I have someone else here. And she felt guilty because she knew she didn't have anywhere to go. And her behaviors just start getting more and more extreme, to the point where she had to ask her to leave. The lady didn't want to leave, and she had to force her to leave. And so from that, anytime she heard steps on her porch, it made her nervous. If she heard noises, like, she was afraid that the lady, in all that extremity of experience, would come back and knock on her door again. She also felt guilty because she basically put someone out who didn't have anywhere else to go. She dealt with that for weeks, like the fear that she'd come back. What if she wanted to do harm to me? What if, she tries to do harm to my child? Like, all those things, that fight or flight response, that anxiety, that worry from a experience that's not positive. And so what she did was, she was trying to kind of figure out her life. She kind of stuck into depression. She had an allergic reaction to her depressant medicine and got off of it. And one of her students, who was in massage school, also offered her a free massage. And so she was like, why not? I need my spirits uplifted and I'm super stressed. So she goes and gets the massage. And one thing you need to know about massages, and if you haven't had one, I suggest you get one, is it helps you relax. When it's a skilled masseuse, they can feel where the stress is in your body. It helps you release. And as she was in the massage, she was thinking and releasing at the same time. And the undoing of that experience, because in and of itself, allowing that friend to come stay with her was not a negative thing, but she experienced negative things the whole time she was there. And she had negative baggage left over when the friend left. And she could not undo it. She was feeling stressed and uptight and nervous all the time. The undoing was focusing on the lesson in it. In and of itself, it was not a bad thing to allow a friend to come stay with you. It also was not a bad thing that you asked her to leave because it was an unsafe environment for your child. And you were doing what was best for you and your child and for your safety. That's what good mothers do. Although when she left, she did not have anywhere to go, and she would not receive the help that hey, there's a place that they allow you to come stay. They provide food and shelter for women, if you don't have the things that you need. And the woman refused it. So she also could say, I offered an alternative that would have been safer for all of us, and she still would have had her needs met, and she refused it. And although when she left, she may not have been in the best condition, but my hope is that eventually she will find the help that she needs. It also taught the lesson of, hey, it's good to help others, but not at the expense of your safety or your child's safety. Also, boundaries are important. So she was able to cycle through all of those things to get to an undoing place where she could look at the situation, acknowledge that there was some negative, acknowledge how that negative made her feel, but also acknowledge the good that came out of it, the lessons that she learned, and also hoping, prayerfully, hoping, whatever that looks like for you, that the outcome for the young lady is positive because she did try. That's what she calls the undoing. She also talks about the importance of writing about your life. And here we are, full circle, talking about journaling again. And I'm going to read it. It's on page 105, where she says, I've taught a memoir writing workshop for the past 8 years. And if I've learned anything from my students, it's that the act of writing our lives has an intrinsically, goodness, healing effect. Students don't come to my workshops for therapy, but by telling their stories, they begin to see their experiences, especially their negative experiences, as part of a longer life narrative. When we can see the big picture and begin to understand some part of the vast context in which things happen, that seeing eases the resonance of whatever it is that haunts us. So I will tell you, this for me has been like a lifesaver for me. So on our previous weeks, I've talked about how I was an avid journaler. I wrote down pretty much everything. And if something happened to me, I could go back and reference that time a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, where that, whatever it was related to where I was, or it brought encouragement, or it brought perspective, because in that moment I could not see, or I did not have the right perspective because I was angry or sad or disappointed. And going back and referencing those things was a reminder, like, first of all, this is temporary. Second of all, I need to cycle through these emotions, but this is not where it ends for me. Also, the bigger picture. I could see from that point to where I arrived that this is not it. Things are not over. This is not the end. I get through this. It's hard. It's frustrating. I hate it here in this moment, but I get through it. It's also one of the reasons why, and this is related to mom dreams again, on my website, I encourage people, like, there's literally a page on the website, www.momdreams.org, where you have the opportunity to share your story, your experience of overcoming. Why do I encourage that? And what will happen is, if you choose to share on that writing page, where you can put in the entry, put your contact information, and if you're comfortable, it can be a blog entry on our blog. The reason why I encourage that is because I have learned from what she has said and from personal experience that sharing your experiences, sometimes with yourself first, writing down what happened, how it made you feel, helps you work through the situation, but it also brings perspective. because sometimes your feelings are always valid, but sometimes in the heat of emotion, our perspective is a little skewed. How we see the person that offended us, how we see the offense. Sometimes their offense is similar to someone else's offense that maybe we have that's from in our family. And so we get angry as if they offended us like that other person. Like all of those things. Writing things down brings perspective and also helps you work through things. So I would encourage you, even if you don't share it on the Mom Dream in the Mom Dreams website, I encourage you to write things down. Write down your experiences, write down your life. So I will tell you, for me, this is just a goal for me. So for a number of my journals, so I will tell you, I went through a phase where, or not a phase, I went through a season of healing, and I was going to therapy and all these things. And I was going back and looking at some of my old journals as kind of part of my therapy, looking at how I saw things, how I processed pain, which a lot of times I didn't. I just wrote it down, and that was it. That's where it stopped. I wrote it and that was the end. I got it out. I'm done. And typically it's not that simple. And so there is a phase of a life where I had journals where I made a decision to throw them away. Why? I threw them away because naturally I go back and reference. I did not want to go back and reference old behaviors, mindsets, or how I addressed things in the old way. I wasn't taught how to healthily address life. So all of those old journals were a reflection of my dysfunction. And I had no reason, because I had decided I'm doing things differently. I'm learning a new way. It's uncomfortable. I'm accepting that I've been doing it wrong because I was never taught I'm doing it the way I am learning, the way I am growing. I did not want a frame of reference of old because it was not going to help me move past it. So I threw them away. Does that mean I don't have any negative things written in my most recent journals? Absolutely not. But they are from a mature place. And so one of the things that I plan to do is when my daughter gets a certain age, or maybe I'll leave them for her when I'm gone, I'm going to give her those journals because I want her to be able to hear my voice. Yes, she'll have memories, but I want her to be able to go to a book where she knows her mother wrote it down and talked about her experience. And it's not just my experience. I'm a believer. So in there is things that God talks to me about. In there, it's revelation, it's encouragement for myself, it's things and insight about other people that I've learned that has changed my perception, like all of those things. So I'm going to leave those for her so that she always has my words, because words have power and words bring life. Also, words bring death, but words have the ability to heal. And so I am going to give her those, but I threw away all the old ones because I don't want those words to ever affirm in her anything that may be dysfunctional or unhealthy. She will see a woman, not starting out when I first had her, but she will see a woman growing with an awareness of herself and others, far from perfect. I don't know everything. I miss the mark regularly. I don't get it right all the time. And I'll tell you, that is sometimes an issue for me because I like to get things right, but it's a reminder of my humanity. But I want her to see my process because it's a reminder that, number one, she's not alone. Number two, we are all growing and learning. This is a process of life. We don't ever stop growing and learning unless we choose to. But that's not a desire for me. I want to continue to grow and learn. I want to continue to expand. I want to continue to have capacity for more, because more for me means better for my family and better for the people that I come in contact with. So I want to encourage you to write things down. That is your challenge. So, not necessarily joy, just write things down. And it could be things from the past. It could be writing down something that happened to you in the past, how you saw it then versus how you see it now. Those things bring healing. And you never know what sharing those things, if you even if you don't share it publicly, what sharing those things with yourself, because it is sharing with yourself or others, will do for your heart. It is a good way to heal. It is a good way to grow. It is a good way to move forward. So I will leave you with that. We are at our time. I hope you have an amazing week full of fond memories that bring you joy. And if you don't have anything, create some. And then I want to encourage you to not only write down your joys, but write down things that you are processing. Write down what you're experiencing right now. Write down how you see your life. What do you, overall, big picture, what is your view of your life? Are you happy with it? Are you unhappy with it? Are you in the middle, like, meh, I can take it or leave it? What are some things you would like to see different? Not that will make you happy, but that will bring growth or joy or better for you. So, with that, I'll leave it. Happy Tuesday. Have an amazing evening, and we will talk again soon. Bye, ladies.